Mr. Sweat, is there any add items to the agenda?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, have a motion. We don't have any as far as that. I'll make it a motion. Okay.
Are we going to add the supervisor or township manager report?
Not today, ma'am. Okay, public comment on agenda items. Approval of minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 17th, 2018.
Second.
Vote.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
Mr. Passalacqua?
Yes.
Mr. Sabat?
Yes.
Yes.
Treasurer's report.
General fund, $93,397. Local share account, $105,004. State fund, $136,655. Sewage escrow, $32,105. Payroll account, $27,553. Chartiers Creek Fund, $17,571. General obligation bond, $56,499, and the Act 13 impact fee, $171,467.
Since our last meeting, it's my understanding that you've done a pretty good job of paying what we can pay. We have Phil Bonato's bill that's still outstanding. We got caught up with Mr. Sweat up to 1 month, and everything other than the bond at the end of the year and the police pension fund. Is that right, Julianne? Would be the next thing? And you were hoping to pay that in August?
By September.
By September, so we'll be caught up with the police pension fund. Okay, and so we're slowly bringing ourselves back out as long as there's no more issues with the police department.
Do I have a motion to file a treasurer's report for future audit? Have a motion.
I'll move. Second.
Second. Vote.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
Mr. Passalacqua?
Yes.
Mr. Sabat?
Yes.
Okay, building permits?
A total of 6 for the month of July. Total is $779.37.
Okay, bill approval and check sign. Do I have a motion to approve total bills and check signs since you went over?
I'll make a motion also.
Second.
All right. Vote.
Mr. Sabat?
Yes.
Mr. Passalacqua?
Yes.
Mr. Junko?
Yes. Old business, we don't have anything on that. New business, really not either, okay? Police chief report, Ron's not bereavement, he had a death in the family, so we don't have it. Fire chief's report, Dave's not here, but did you wanna, okay. Anything?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Lisa Quinn, President of North Franklin Fire Company. I don't have the fire report
That's
stating
okay.
what the calls were for the month. But last Monday, we went? Wednesday. Last Wednesday, we went, there was 5 of us that went to the fire company, met with Representative O'Neill and the state fire commissioner and the director of EMS for the state of Pennsylvania. And they gave us a lot of information regarding the Act 172 that you talked about last month, that you can get guidance through that through your PSATs. So if you have any questions, contact your supervisors, so your organization, they'll be able to help you with that.
Thank you.
And also that, just regarding the flooding on Chestnut Street, I know there's a meeting Monday at PennDOT. We would like to go. Is that appropriate for us to go?
Sure.
I don't see why not.
I don't see why not.
Okay. Landy and I will both be there. Okay, thank you.
Martha, did you want to bring up anything on Act 172 for them that you already applied for?
No, only that I did speak with Canton Township, and they do have it, and South Strabane is also thinking about doing it. What it is, they allow any volunteer who shows up for a certain number of fire calls, they get $12 per call. And then in one of the areas, they also give them a break on their earned income tax in the amount of $500. So the supervisors are thinking about it. I do have copies of the ordinances that the other township has. So
We would have to put that through as far as a motion to approve that.
You'll have to adopt the resolution.
Adopt the
Yeah.
resolution, okay.
It is to provide incentive for
Yeah,
individuals
that's-
to join the volunteer fire department.
Right. And I think it works out real well. Okay, thanks, Mark. Okay, code enforcement?
Good evening. So this month we had 3 properties in the trash and junk on property category, 7 for grass, and 5 in the other category. As mentioned previously, the meeting on Monday, we sent out certified notices as well as PennDOT did the same to the property owners. So they have their notices, and if they do not attend, then that's when we can move the citation, but we're looking for compliance first. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Only question I have, and I mentioned this to Julianne. Could you, group of you, get together and make sure that the new golf center is licensed? They reopened
What did they open?
with new business, but I don't know if they received from the township what they're supposed to get. I mean, they may not know, but they just can't reopen.
Is that the old national?
They have to get mercantile business license.
Mercantile.
I have it ready to go out.
Okay,
You have
okay,
it.
I
please.
just recently saw the name is now Interstate Golf.
Yes, you probably drove by it like me and it was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Sweat?
Concerning the meeting that's going to take place on Monday at 10 o'clock, it'll be here at this Township building.
No.
I'm sorry.
PennDOT,
PennDOT.
Okay.
Nordstrom Bank.
North Bank. I think what precipitated this was the complaint that we registered with PennDOT over safety issues, and also Jared's letter to the property owners saying we're going to declare this a public nuisance. You're putting our residents at risk. Our township assets are being used. The fire department, the police. And so I've had a number of phone calls from Buchanan Ingersoll that represents Gutman Realty, and I believe they've shared with us, or will be sharing, the Robinson Pipe photos.
Yeah.
Okay. But then I also received a letter from Attorney Steve Mariner, who has been retained to represent Orion Development, which owns the Rite Aid store. And, you know, they're now very much involved, and they're saying that they have an engineer, they're familiar with the stormwater system, they know where the connections are, they believe they know what's causing damage at a depth of 17 feet on the Orion property. I didn't realize it was that deep.
Yeah, that's the one in front of the farm.
So this has gotten everybody's attention, and I'm sure that this should be a fruitful meeting.
Okay.
And how did it behave with yesterday's rain?
Bad.
It was bad again?
Well,
Every time it rains.
I can.
You guys were there, who was there? Yeah, Manny's in.
Well, actually, what happened
WPXI.
was, I left work and I wanted to see it personally from the beginning before it started, and I wanted to see how fast it would develop. And so I sat there in my car, parked. I had to move it, in fact, because I was surprised where the water actually went to. And so I wanted to see how long it would take the police and the fire to get there. And you guys did a good job, but what was bad and what frightened me the most was prior to the police and fire getting there, people flying through there at 40 miles an hour with water this deep. Just unbelievable. And I told Sylvia on the phone, and I'm not afraid to say it, the reason we have to have a meeting, the reason this has to stop, is someone's going to get killed. Someone's going to get hurt or maimed. It's going to happen. And people are driving crazily, and there was a van that got stuck by his own stupidity. There was a guy who got flooded out. He was parked over at Denny's. And but I was just most frightened by the fact that I saw people flying through I was surprised by the amount of water on the Canton side of West Chestnut Street and how fast people were going.
The road dips.
It was awful.
Is it
And
because they couldn't see how deep it was, or?
I think
People drive through water.
They
They go to
just-
the city, when I work in the city, they do it.
They
South
just-
Main, and once there, just do it everywhere. It's not
The bad
driving
part,
through water.
They'll
they
try.
come flying down there fast and they hydroplane and turn sideways when they hit the bear stop. They're gonna do some tipsy.
somebody, it's a matter,
They don't
this
respect
has
the
to
water
end.
at all.
And they're driving for a barricade.
Yes.
Yeah, they're going through
We're
yours.
driving for
Well-
a barricade.
And Officer Solarud was on the Franklin Farm side. I saw a lady try to turn into the water, even though he's yelling, "What are you doing?" And it was just, I was amazed just sitting there that entire time, seeing what I saw.
And the number of cars too that are,
Okay.
not only are we trying to block off the Franklin Farms, West Chestnut, both east and westbound lanes, we have to be concerned about what's going on with the cars trying to cut down through Rite Aid. Because they're coming down over what is the most dangerous spot. I mean, if you look the grate at Rite Aid, not at Rite Aid, but in Bob Evans, has lifted off the hole, is no longer, so there's an open hole there in Bob Evans parking lot. And, the whole road, the road or
Gone.
the going down from Rite Aid to the gas station is an ever-flowing river, and cars continually want to come up there, so that's another concern that we have to block off. And it's creating big congestion in the Rite Aid parking lot. People are just not adhering to safety.
Well,
rules.
and I just want to say real fast that I apologize to Mike Solarud yesterday having have to stand out there. I apologize to the fire company, and I apologize to the residents, but it isn't this board's fault. And we are not going to spend $250,000 and maybe never get the money back. We're going to fight this to the end. They are going to fix it, and they're going to fix it soon, and it's going to start Monday. We are done. And they're
The
going
trouble
to.
is, there's no haste in the park.
Well,
They don't seem to be.
these are $1 million.
Nobody wants to take responsibility.
These are $1 million companies, but when somebody gets hurt, it's gonna hurt their pocketbook. And those lives can't be replaced. And it's ridiculous.
At its worst, are there representatives from PennDOT there to see this?
No, PennDOT
No, they
didn't
won't
come
come.
out.
Once
We'll
they-
Have
request
we
that
taken
they
any
come
pictures?
out.
There's some pictures? Anybody have pictures?
WPXI was just down there taking video, so it's on the news. It was on the news,
It's on
She
the
came
news.
after the water receded yesterday.
and that was
Yeah,
high.
she came.
There
Yes,
when the
I was wondering who
hail
that
flooded.
was.
Okay, all right.
That's all I have. That's all I have. Okay, I have really only one thing. I'll let you go ahead, Sue.
I'm okay, I'm reported out.
The only thing I could say is Rich Rush called today, dealing with the engineer, and he was just telling me that the road deal would be 1st of September. He talked to Morgan, so that's when they'll start doing the roads.
1st of September.
Yeah, he just called me. So,
You say where they're gonna start?
no.
So we'll get a.
We'll get a game plan.
We'll get an email from Rich.
Correct. So we'll go from there.
They'll do them by sections. There's a
Yeah.
number of roads up in.
Different areas.
In Lincoln Hill.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. You said, talk about
Okay,
police cars.
All right. The Board of Supervisors voted at the last meeting to sell 2 police cars, the Dodge and the Crown Vic. That's still on target. Unfortunately, because of Ron Fox's vacation, the bereavement issue, death in his family, we've gotten stalled a little bit because we don't have all the information, but we will tomorrow. And then Julianne has come up with a game plan that it will be advertised in the OR Sunday and the following Wednesday, and the municipal as well. If it's the board's okay, and I don't think I need a vote on
We
this.
did.
No, I was gonna say, let's remove the vehicles from the road and have, I'll direct Ron Fox tomorrow to begin removing whatever police material out of that Dodge and the Crown Vic, so get it ready for sale.
Yeah.
They're not gonna drive them in the meantime,
That's
we're
right.
taking them off the road.
Take them off the road. Yeah. That'll be good. Then we can drop them.
I don't want anything to happen to those vehicles, and yeah, and I'd rather that Dodge, now that it's fixed, not be driven at all.
Yeah. Let's just leave it
So we're gonna pull them, and we're gonna sell them.
down. Okay.
Okay, the next thing I have, as a part of the Route 40 issue, and the fire company may know what I'm talking about because they drive it often. You two don't go that way as often, but again, going west on West Chestnut Street at the Denny's through the mall, if you are in the left-hand lane, you're pushed into the intersection of turning into the mall when you want to go straight. PennDOT called me about that because I asked, when I was talking about this, I asked them about line markings for West Chestnut Street. They came back 2 weeks later and called me and said they have looked at it, they pulled it up on camera, and they've had several complaints. They didn't tell me exactly what they're going to do, but they're going to do either a solid white line bringing people around, so that, because it's confusion.
Accidents there too.
What's that?
Lots of accidents have occurred there too.
I believe it because it's very confusing. And people are getting angry at each other. And really the people in the left lane are doing what you think they have to do. They have to move over to the right. And the car, everybody got to move to the right, and they're not doing it. So, and it's a failure of the line painting.
I'll tell you where it's bad is getting off the exit westbound or eastbound. They don't stop for that stop sign. They blow right through that thing most of the time.
They do, and we get a lot of tickets issued to people that do that.
Yeah, there's more people blow through that than not. Some stop,
Yeah.
majority of them.
Okay.
Yep.
And the final thing I have is that, and Mrs. McDowell is here, we're going to, again, reenact the litter pickup that occurred when I was a supervisor last time. And I've already talked to Julianne about this. We tentatively decided on a date of, and I talked to Willie McDowell about this, of October 13th. And you guys will coordinate the times. We're going to need volunteers from PennDOT. They will give us, that's a Saturday. They will give us vests, gloves, bags, all the kind of things we need. We're going to need volunteers though. And what it basically is, and I remember it last time, we have truckloads of just garbage. This is not, I don't want to get into a situation up in Allegheny County. This is not a put your washing machine by the curb type of thing. This is litter pickup in the township. So, Mrs. McDowell, thank you very much for...
Thank you. I do appreciate your expediting that whole issue. I do. It's all of Pennsylvania, but we live in North Franklin, and we don't want it to look like the ghetto.
And the last time we did this, I mean, we may need to have a police car or two in certain places. We did do this along Park Avenue. There's a lot of garbage off the interstate. There was just, you can't believe how much garbage is there. And so we're going to try to do it once. Would see how it goes. And then if we can get it coordinated and we have enough volunteers, we'll expand it into the spring.
I would just want to suggest that possibly we do this first pickup in memory of Mrs. Hall.
Yeah,
PennDOT finally cleaned up exit 15. It's already getting redecorated. Paper cups and bottles. It's just some people don't, it's too nice, so let's mess it up. There's a bad element in our society that you just can't control.
You know, it's nobody's job.
Well, they think the maid's gonna come in the morning and clean it up.
So I appreciate, and the board appreciates you taking, get with Julianne, talk with Julianne, and get this coordinated. But I'll make a motion that we plan a litter cleanup on Saturday, October 13th, hours to be determined by.
I'll second whatever it
Is
is.
it a township manager job? Maybe?
Mr. Pasalakwa?
Yes.
Mr. Stafford?
Yes.
Mr. Junko?
Yes.
Do you think we could advertise that on the?
Marquee.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the things, yeah, those are the kind of things I want you to, we've got to get in,
Okay.
somebody's in charge of a Facebook page in the township, so could you please put it?
I don't know who you're talking
Okay,
about.
but do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Yes, sir, Mr. Bassett.
Just a question.
You have to go get on the microphone.
Here,
You're the one that said,
Bring it
you're
to
the
me.
one that
I'll
said you
hand
wanted
it
a
to you.
microphone. Now get over there and use it.
He's getting on you already.
Art Batson, Edwards Drive. My question concerns the guardrails up on Ridgewood where a person run through it. Now, the fire
Tore it
code,
up and left them.
they cut them off, but in 2 months, there's gonna be storms.
Martha can
Those
answer
are
that.
spears sticking out.
Martha, get on
Martha
it.
can answer that.
She's on it.
But you lost your microphone.
That's it.
I already reported it to the insurance company of the individual who went off the road. So as soon as when our Morgan excavating starts about our streets, they're gonna give us a quote on what price will be to replace, and then I'll turn in that quote to the insurance company.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks, Martha.
You're welcome, Mark.
Just leave it there.
Okay, nothing else? Somebody in the back. Yes, good.
Get over there and get on it.
I'll hurry.
Don't sing.
Frances Eads, 236 Hazelwood Drive, and I'm here representing the Business and Recreation Authority, and I'm here to tell you that something really great is happening with the park, and it's not costing anybody anything, so we can all rejoice in that. Oh no, this one is. And we were approached, it wasn't us. Sissy Cameron came to our meeting this past week, and Sissy has done a lot in the Washington area with conservation and environmental stuff, and she's worked with East Washington and the Martha Washington Garden Group and all that. She had brought her dogs and walked the trail and was highly complimentary of the condition of the trail and the opportunity and how friendly everybody was. But she was in awe of the fact that when she got to the bottom of the trail where the bottom bridge is, there's this monarch habitat that is growing. And her question was, well, what kind of plants did you grow? And I guess she saw Mr. Junko, and he said, oh, well, we didn't do anything, it's just there. So she was really thrilled that we have that, because the monarchs that we have are the ones that they fly to Mexico after they hatch, and then they come back. At any rate, she is going to have that area designated as a monarch.
Milkweed.
Yeah, the milkweed's there, everything's there, and she just thought it was so great that the park and the trail had been developed, but there was environmental concern with it, that we tried to keep it as natural as we could. It's going to be designated as a monarch area. It'll have a sign with it. She's taking care of all 11 pages of the form that has to be filled out. So it's just a nice thing for North Franklin, because there are a lot of people from outside North Franklin that visit that park. So they're going to see that, and it's a good thing for us that we are taking care of our environment.
Let me add one thing.
Yes.
Shark, that park is in such good shape, and so pristine, because this guy right here.
Yes.
He manicures it like it's his own home.
Mr. Ron Junko takes care of that park
Yes,
for
he
all of
does.
us. And he takes care of me as chair of the board.
I was gonna add to that, Gary can maybe attest this, like W&J, Conservation Corps, there's a lot of plants that's nowhere found in Pennsylvania, except there. I mean, Gary went through this when we were looking at the 80 acres down there. It's really neat, because we get W&J biology students come in there, and you can attest that, they ask for permission to come in there and do studies on that. So it is very pristine, some of the areas.
And the authority's committed to maintaining those areas, not just for the township, but for all of our environment. So, and it's great because we have students that come out and do their thing with it, so it's just a good thing for the township. So thank you all for your support of that.
The DEP said those are the highest rated wetlands in the state.
Yeah. no wetlands are.
He said there's plants there that you don't see anywhere else.
That's why the biology department.
Biology.
is so interested in it.
Rick, have you looked at those?
I haven't had time.
Well, you need to do this,
I
apparently.
will get up there
Get up there.
directly. Not my interest.
Okay, I have a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Come up.
Hi, my name's Ben Scott. Admittedly, I'm here for the ranting at the end of the meeting section a little bit, but I had a really terrible experience with North Franklin Township this past month that ended up costing me a whole ton of money and a lot of grief. My wife and I have a small business, it's just me and her, and we own a couple of different properties in different municipalities in and around Washington. I own 230 Winona Avenue here in the township, and on the first week of July, my tenants complained because there was water coming into the basement. So I went to address it. I ended up digging out a trench next to the house to put in a French drain and see if I could fix it and make it better. In the meantime, I found that it was cracked when I took it out, and I ended up having to replace a small section of the wall. Throughout the course of the project, no one talked to me on the street. I mean, I talked to everybody on the street. No complaints, nothing like that. No communication from the township. On July 22nd, and mind you, this is a two-person LLC that my wife and I own. I'm an employee and she's an employee. I fix the buildings and she does the paperwork. That's the scope of our business. On July 22nd, an OSHA inspector went to the property without me to talk to first my tenants, who I had just sent a notice to quit letter to about their lease. So, you know, I think he got a great interview from my tenants. On the morning of July 23rd, I got a call at 8 in the morning asking me to come look at my job site. And I went, I don't know what job site. I'm not a contractor. I don't do contracting work. I don't work for anybody. I just fix my own buildings. So at 8 in the morning, I had a sit down. The guy said he just wanted to talk. It turns out it was, you know, a federal deposition with an OSHA inspector. They sit down and you have to talk your way through the whole thing. He told me that he was only going to give me, my buddy helped me because we did it on the 3rd and 4th of July. He told me that I was only going to get probably one $10,000 fine for working in this trench that he deemed to be unsupported, which by the absolute letter of the law was accurate. I contacted an attorney. He told me to prepare for a $39,000 fine from the federal government. And that's not really a joke at all. I mean, that's the actual numbers you're talking about. So then, that was on the July 22nd, 23rd, 24th. This is the kind of stuff that I had to deal with at the beginning of that week. On the 25th, I got a registered letter from the township about the property after the OSHA inspection and all that. It was about a motor vehicle nuisance citation from my tenants and rubbish citation, that's accurate. They needed to clean that up. At the bottom of the letter on page 2, it also says here, just in the bottom, it says, the complaint also included the digging, trenching in the front yard. The conditions appear to be unsafe as the trench has been dug without shoring. OSHA has been notified to inspect these conditions. So that's what happened. So without any communication from the township, and I don't think anything was done wrong probably by the rules, except for the fact that no one communicated with me whatsoever about the issue. I would have gladly fixed it as opposed to so right now, my fine is negotiated down to $5,100 for me working in the ditch that I dug at my own house. I didn't have a hard hat on, and the trench wasn't properly shored up, which is accurate. That's true. But I'm just really disappointed that the township didn't communicate with
Who from the township sent the letter?
Matthew Mailer.
Okay, good.
So, as we spoke on the phone, the ordinance states that we have to send a certified letter. That's our communication. I can't just pull a phone number out.
The OSHA guy called me without any difficulty whatsoever. I mean, my phone number is easy to get.
That's between you and us. As a township code enforcement officer, that's my
Do you not allow your code enforcement officers to have more contact information? I mean, the OSHA was called before I got a letter. I mean, could have even come over and just talked to me, truthfully.
You said tenants, not those persons.
I did the job. And the tenants would have gladly given you my phone number. I mean, it's not hard at all.
But this is standard procedure, that's no law.
Well, I'm just saying, it seems like a lousy policy, if that's the case.
This is first I'm hearing about it.
I never heard of it.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys end up calling OSHA on many people in the township, but once you call them, it's a major, major thing.
I come down to the office and
The trenching incident in North Franklin, what
Wait, I
caused us to do
what's that?
Matt, could you stand up?
Stand up, I can't hear you. That mic's not working.
This way?
Turn it on, baby.
I mean, I already paid the fine, so it's a done thing. That doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, but I want to
Just
know
stinks.
what's
Just stinks.
transpired.
Okay. So upon seeing the trenching unshored, I came back to the office, asked Jared, what would you do with this? He said, well, North Franklin had that trenching accident where someone nearly died, so he said immediately I would call OSHA. So I did.
Just do that with everybody in the township then. That's my only request.
What's the depth of the depth?
Did the OSHA gentleman specify
Did
that?
you check it out?
6, 7
It was over 4 feet.
Yeah, he's over.
No, I take absolutely legally. I was incorrect. I'm just saying.
So
That's opening
legally,
up Pandora's box of problems.
that's the procedure.
Okay, I just ask that you do it clearly to everybody that's working in the township. If you see something going on, call OSHA. Don't talk to them first, just call OSHA. It's going to be stick for everyone.
Okay.
From a safety standpoint, it was March 11th of this year that we had a trench incident up here on Williams Street. And it was the same thing, someone going in, handing the trench, and the odds were in our favor that day. Most times, the trench rescues, you don't have that successful outcome. They're recoveries, they're not rescues. What saved this guy was the fact that he was pinned against the window. They were able to break the window out. We had to bring in specialized teams from Washington County, Peters Township, North Strabane, City of Washington. We had to hand dig the dirt because of the unsafe piles of dirt. Digging trenches are a very dangerous thing if it's not done right. And I believe the shoring has to be if you're in hip distance. It's not a very what you would consider a deep distance to the OSHA regulations.
If that person hadn't been bent over,
That person.
he'd died. If he'd been reaching for something, he'd never come out of there alive.
And then someone else is gonna go and help him get out, and just the possibility of moving that dirt and make that situation even more dangerous. I mean, we basically had to wait till we got the proper shoring equipment there before we even begin reaching that victim.
I agree that it's unsafe, but I'm just saying, like, I own the house that I was working on myself in my own ditch, in my own yard. And I have a $5,000 OSHA fine, which it's simply a technicality of the law. If I had not made my business an LLC to own the properties, if I did not get a paycheck from my business, I would just be a guy in my own house fixing stuff, and the guy told me it wouldn't have even counted. So my issue is not safety. I agree with that.
You just weren't told.
I wish I could have gotten a phone call or something, or anything.
Okay.
This would have been decent. And do I worry about OSHA in the future? Like, I gotta trim a tree over there. Serious question.
Call the township
I mean, do I
first.
call the township and ask if I'm allowed to trim a tree?
Here's the book.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I guess that kind of leads into my problem. I got a neighbor next door on my right. He's dug a trench down alongside between his house and mine. And he's gonna put pipe in there, and he's gonna direct the water from his backyard to his front yard. My front yard's lower than his, so it's all gonna go into my front yard. And all that water's gonna run under driftwood. It's already fallen apart on the left side, which we still haven't figured out what we're gonna do with it. I haven't talked to you yet, Sil, but I know you were out there.
He's gonna take that, he's gonna lay that pipe all the way out to the road. That's water, surface water ran down through there before, on top of the ground, all over the place. Now he got that trench down there. It's gonna go, I see where it stopped, but I see lines where he's gonna continue to dig and get clear out to the road and get rid of that water out. It's a shame that the inlet's not close by, but where else you gonna go? You gotta go to the road. That's the lowest point.
Well, that That's good for me, because then it won't be ended up in my yard. Where he
That's right.
stopped the ditch right now, it's
I
gonna put
think
the
he's
water in
right,
my
he's gonna
yard.
stop that ditch
No.
right there.
No.
You see the red lines he's got there, he's going out, clear out to the road.
Yeah, but I don't talk to him, because he's not a very nice fella.
I know, when I
God
told him.
bless him, I wish he was, because I've tried.
Don't we all?
But here's the thing, even if the water gets out to the road, it's going to end up going underneath driftwood, and it's already falling apart.
Well,
So what are we gonna do on driftwood? Maybe, I still said, like I told you guys in the previous meeting, that whole problem with driftwood falling apart was happening after the water company ran the pipes up to the houses above me. That road is over top of old glass, like big chunks of glass from the old glass plants. That your dad brought it down there, and they built the road over. It was really stable, but when they dug that up and they put the piping up there to get the water up there, they filled it in with the wrong material. They didn't use the glass like your dad used. So as a result, there's like an underground stream that's running under driftwood that's causing this problem. I think we got to get the water company to go down there, dig up driftwood, put a pipe across there, so that the water's not going to tear up the road, and then build up a concrete portion there. But I don't think our township's responsible for it. It was never that way, and Art will tell you, until they put that water company, put that piping up there to get up to all the houses on driftwood. So I think you've got to get the water company to take care of this problem. And then I won't even be worried about Terry's water, because it'll just go right through that pipe under the street, and it won't destroy it. So that's my request, is that you get the water company down there to fix that problem. They caused it, let them fix it.
Try and get them. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Do we need an executive?
And we need, do something with that you want?
Ron's not here today.
No.
No, we already discussed the
Yeah.
police before.
Okay.
There's no more on the police, believe it or not.
Yes, sir.
I did want to be heard on one more
Oh, I'm
thing.
sorry.
if I got time. Okay, so see here, I'm back. It's been about 1 year since we had all the flooding. Since the police department flooded, since I flooded, since pretty much most of North Franklin flooded.
Right here.
Yeah, right. And I've been in this township and worked in this township for 15 years. And until last July, before that, it was a hurricane that we had any kind of flooding. But since then, I have had to put a sump pump in my toilet and pump shit water out my front door into the street, because there's a house up here that has a pipe going through their yard so that they can have a nice yard, and that looks fantastic. But whenever it rains hard, this 24 or 30-inch pipe, I didn't measure it, I'm guessing, gets clogged with a Christmas tree or a pallet, or who the hell knows. And then it floods onto 18. Then it comes down 18, floods all the sewer grates, floods Gabby, he digs that out, floods Jamie Beals' house, and I have a geyser coming out of my toilet. This has happened 3 times now. Before this, it had never happened. Where are we at with this?
How's it getting into the sanitary system?
Because it's overflowing onto the streets. The creek is overtaking that yard. It pours onto the street by
Surface
the...
water's gotta be getting into the sanitary system or something. That's the only way it could happen.
Well, I mean, what about all the different...
That's separate from,
I mean, once it pours onto 18, it tore up Christie's driveway, it flooded Jamie's house.
Somehow or other, there's surface water getting into the sanitary system. And it's not supposed to.
I don't know. I fix cars. I'm just wondering where we're at with it, because I hate it. I mean, I know these things take time. I mean, that creek always floods. Every time it rained, I used to, 16 years old, 18 years old, I'd be out there watching it come up. That always happened. Only just recently did it start flooding 18, and that's whenever we started having the problems with it literally coming in my front door, coming up out of the toilet, doing the same thing at Jamie's house, doing the same thing at Gabby and flooding their bar. I mean, are we anywhere with this? Do we know anything? Is there something we can do about this lady with this pipe going through her yard? I took pictures. It looks like a swimming pool up there. And that was in February whenever I was over there till 4 in the morning.
Where's that pipe directed to?
it goes through her yard. So the creek goes through her yard. So she laid this right up here by the two banks.
Is she dumping her water into the creek?
No, it's where the creek was. So imagine you have a creek going through your yard and you decide, you know what, I don't like that anymore, so I'm going to lay a piece of pipe down and I'm going to fill it all in with dirt so I have a nice level yard and let the creek run through that little pipe. Well, it works fantastic until it rains or until 7 Christmas trees are stuck in the damn thing. Because that's what it was in February. There were 7 Christmas trees in there. I mean, is there something we can do about this? Because that's the only time that we really have the big issue. And, you know, I was just over there again. When did we get that rain? Back in like June or something like that on a Sunday. It rained on a Sunday. I was there till 2 in the morning, pumping water till on a Sunday.
What's the address?
Yeah, that's all.
I can get it for you.
I sent it to Sarah. I sent it to Sarah, and the engineers know about it. They were not given permission to do that by the township, so it's.
If they put a pipe in the yard,
It was done. It was done a long
years ago, but it's now become a problem because it's all clogged up with shit.
You put a pipe there, they put around every top, and
Is that the house on Sunnybrook?
what's the
It's
house?
a house on
The house on
Sunnybrook.
Sunnybrook.
It's
It's on
It's
Sunnybrook.
on Sunnybrook, but if you were to go to
You
the
didn't see
two
it.
banks, if you were to be standing at the entrance to the Welbelco and you look directly across the street, it's that whole little, and it looks nice when it's not flooded, but it floods, and it's screwing me. And it tore up Christie's driveway. It takes all the gravel. My parking lot becomes a mess of gravel and trees and shit. There's 4x4s going down the road. Someone's going to have an accident coming down that road. I watched 2 or 3 trucks hydroplane right through here and almost either come into my lot or go into Gabby because, again, people do 100 miles an hour and they don't realize that there's running water is still
That's what I'm saying.
hydroplane.
Instead of just going, we're gonna look into it and see what the heck this is on Sunnybrook Yards.
If you could, that's.
How about if, when you come back in a September meeting?
Can we talk about having a meeting at 6 o'clock? Because I have to leave work.
Okay.
I mean, can we do
Let's-
that?
let's-
I mean,
Let's go ahead, we'll look into what that is.
Well, I've never.
I'm fine. I mean, you can even email me.
Okay.
You could go the route of ordinance violations.
Please.
I was just going to say, I personally have not been aware of
Pick and choose.
I didn't know anything about it, so, I don't know that it came through our office.
So, actually, Mr. Pasalaka was out there right after the rain, but this was also, and I understand that everywhere else flooded. I understand that. I understand we had one rainstorm and none of us are gone. I get that. But something has to have changed because if, for 16 years, every time we get rainstorms, I haven't had an issue. We've had water in the backyard.
Well, I did talk to Jamie one day, because I know that his yard was flooded.
His whole house was flooded. He lost a vehicle over it.
Yeah, I know, he told me that, so, but I didn't know,
Okay, let me just say, in regards to what Martha just said, and I think she's absolutely right. Nothing has come through her office because the Board of Supervisors has not received one email, one letter, nothing from code enforcement and nothing from the township solicitor
not to this
in
extent
regards
that
to
you're
that.
talking about.
Okay.
We can't fix problems that we don't even know about.
Okay, well, then, okay, that's all I ask.
I agree.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
Because I have to bleach, they're gonna have concrete floors, but I have to bleach everything. If it was like this, you guys lost everything, right?
Can't touch it.
Okay. I hate apologizing, but we're doing a lot
No.
of that lately. Let's get on this and let's have a report by next meeting.
All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
You second?
Yeah, whatever. Sylvia wants to fake politics.